Alabama went to North Carolina and beat the Tar Heels. We're going to talk about it with Catfish, who was courtside for the game, right here on the Bama Tailgate channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Let's get this thing started from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. All right, there he is, old Catfish, hanging out in Chapel Hill, 94-79 Bama. Goes to North Carolina. They have made a habit of beating the Tar Heels, and this was the easiest of the games that we've seen. What was the atmosphere like?
It really was. I saw a tweet this morning that cracked me up, and it said, the last 3 years, Alabama has beaten North Carolina in the PK 85 when Carolina was ranked number 1. They beat them in the Sweet 16 on their road to the Final Four. They beat them in recruiting Jaron Stevenson, a 5-star from Chapel Hill. And they beat North Carolina for Cliff Omoruyi in the transfer portal coming from Rutgers. Nate Oates, I think he's running for governor next term over here in North Carolina at this point. But, you know, Mick, there's like only a handful of basketball venues that I would make the trek for. And, you know, it's probably like Kansas, Duke, North Carolina. I almost did Purdue last month, but couldn't make it work. You know, maybe there's one or two others in there that I'm just not thinking of offhand, like maybe UCLA just because of the tradition, even though it's not what it was 40 years ago. But this was one that's like, you see it, I got to get there. And the fans were beyond nice, like super nice, which we don't really have a rivalry with Carolina. You know, they're a little stung because of the Final Four thing last year, going in the Sweet 16, and Bama's had their number a little bit. But overall, like when they were leaving last night, it was fist bumps. Like, dear God, you guys play fast. Man, y'all whipped us. Y'all made this not fun. One person said, all I wanted was to bring my kid out for a Wednesday night of fun basketball, and you guys made it miserable. You know, it was just like those kind, in jest, you know, just kind of jabs or whatever. The building's amazing. I really like it. It's an older building. It's 40 years old, or right at 40, but it's just such a good setup for basketball is what I mean. Like just a great basketball setup. And basically they do their game day like Alabama does football. You know, right. Got everything going on, all the extra money into it. You can tell they prioritize that over like a football entrance and just kind of everything all together. But it was cool, man. Like good atmosphere. Early on, Carolina was fierce. Like those first 2 or 3 minutes, you could tell they were out to prove a point because they didn't play well in Maui. Well, Bama was able to withstand that and then got a lead and really never looked back. And so it was great. It was nice to go to somebody's building like that and put one on them.
That was a great atmosphere. But I wasn't there. Bama shot almost 50%, 49%. They bombed away from threes. You know, they hit 12 threes in the game. But I'll tell you what I really loved is that they hit all but one of their free throws. So they were 12-13. Like they just did all the things that it took to beat a team like that on the road. And they never had that, like what we've seen this year sometimes where they have that, like that little lull or they go cold. They were consistent from the beginning of that game to the end of that game. They put it on them.
Yeah, they put it on them. They shot really well. It was one of their best shooting performances. Statistically, it may be their best shooting performance of the year. I'd have to check that. But yeah, 36% from beyond the arc, getting up 33 attempts from the three-point line. Nice job there. As you mentioned, the free throws. Turnovers, too. Alabama turned it over 14 times last night. But when everybody sees that stat, if you're looking for it, because we mentioned, and that's what some of the shows have been about, is sloppy play. I want everybody to understand, in last night's game, of those 14 turnovers, I would say probably 6 of them came in 2 different 2 or 3 minute stretches. Where there was one time in the first half, I believe it was, Alabama turned it over 3 straight possessions, and Nate Oates was losing his mind. So overall, if you take out those 2 spurts, then Bama really actually took better care of the basketball last night. It was just two small windows where they got sloppy. But in the total context of the game, they played really, really well. It's almost like when you go play golf and you shoot 81, but you have 3 double bogeys. And you go, man, you take those 3 double bogeys out, I'm in the 70s. It's kind of like that last night for Alabama. And yeah, scoring wise, that was just a thing of beauty because everyone again contributed all around. Everybody, it wasn't one person. Holloway had the best night from beyond the arc, but everybody was a threat from deep.
Yeah. Holloway, 5 of 9, 15 points. He played 23 minutes off the bench. Seeing that Nate Oates isn't afraid to, and maybe he's made it a point of emphasis to really use the bench. And, guys like Reid getting 18 minutes and Diabate played 14, so I mean, it's like Cheryl had 7 minutes in the game and he was the low guy. I love that. Now Sears looked great. He 20 points again. He hasn't really hit his stride yet.
Yeah,
but he's just so big time, man. Like you can just tell he is by far the leader of the team, and there's just that, that eventually he's going to have like a 40-point game. Like you can just kind of feel it.
Well, last night Sears got off to a good start. And I think that's what got Alabama propelled because we said it last show. Like when Sears is going, the team is going. Against Oregon, I think he was, 1 of 11 from beyond the arc? Well, last night, Sears had 11 points in the first 10 or 12 minutes of the ball game. And then it just snowballed for the rest of the team at that point. And you're right. And unfairly, we all hold Sears to this perfect standard. Like he can't mess up. And that's just because of how good he was down the stretch last year. And then coming back this year, you thought we're going to see this guy like that all year long. But you have to remember, Sears emerged last year. People were caught off guard last year they knew he was good, but he caught everyone off guard with how dominant he became. Well, this year they're ready for that. And so Sears early on in the season, we're still early, but you could tell he was either pressing or felt like he had to put the team on his back, and he made uncharacteristic bad decisions or didn't shoot it as well or whatever the case is. Last night, those were much more limited. He felt more comfortable. He didn't have as many of the turnovers or, the mess ups or according to, the standard, once again, that we hold him to. So I think the more comfortable he gets and the more comfortable some of these guys, if Holloway starts shooting like this consistently, he doesn't have to shoot 50%, but if he's doing this consistently, and then we haven't even talked about Houston Mallett, who played for the first time last night. He looked really good. You put him, Philon, Holloway, all in the backcourt. This team just absolutely loaded the way you can move people in and out. And Philon last night made a huge impact the way he was able to drive to the rim and create around the basket point guard spot.
Yeah. Hey, look at this Bama team, though. What was crazy is that I feel like years past they had to make the threes, right? Well, if we don't make the threes, we're not going to win. You know how it was. Like if you start out and you're missing those threes, these guys, I mean, I know they got, they ended up like 44 points in the paint. But I mean, I'm talking about the alley-oop dunks. I'm talking about like even missed some dunks that were there. Like they're really tough around the basket and aggressive and big and strong. It makes this team like you can start to see gelling a little bit. Like last night was, I feel like the first time I really felt like, okay, they're starting to like kind of put it together to me.
Yeah, you could see that. I mean, I think also what caught Carolina off guard last night was, well, two things really stood out to me. One, just how fast Bama is in transition. Mick, there were times that North Carolina scored and Alabama scored and the crowd was still clapping from the Carolina basket.
I know.
Like, it was insane, man. Like the fans are still cheering about the Carolina basket. And they're like, wait a minute. Who had that guy? Because Bama's either dunking it or putting a layup in. Like, they're so fast. It's insane. And then the other, last night, boy, the length and the inside presence really, really bothered North Carolina. You can tell that. Like, Alabama had a distinct advantage down low. Carolina couldn't really get anything going inside. They didn't shoot well from beyond the arc, and Bama had one of its better defensive games last night.
Really, really, really impressive win for Alabama. So now they're 7-2, a true road game. So they played at Purdue and they've played at North Carolina. I mean, these are big time venues, and Alabama's not done yet, man. The gauntlet continues. Next up, Creighton. So Creighton, is that in Tuscaloosa?
It is in Tuscaloosa. Bama
Finally.
Bama will be back home on their home floor, their true home floor, for the first time in a month. I challenge a lot of people to get there, and the students and everything. I know the semester starts to end, but guys, this team is 4-2 on this stretch. They've gone, like Mick said, on the road to Purdue, on the road to North Carolina, beat Houston. Oregon's still undefeated. Well, actually, I don't know if they won or lost last night, but Oregon was undefeated going into last night. Creighton just beat Kansas by double figures last night, and Kansas was the number 1 team in the country. And I'm really glad Creighton did, because now Creighton had been struggling. Creighton now comes into Tuscaloosa, and it's, oh, that's the team that just beat number 1 Kansas by double figures. So catch the attention. If Bama goes 5-2 in that stretch, Mick, that is amazing, because you have, I think it's 3 games after that before conference play, as you go through the holiday stretch. So Bama's in a position to, have a really strong record, have a really strong resume, have gone through a gauntlet before you get going in SEC. If you're a fan, you couldn't have asked for more than 5-2 in that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So that's next Saturday. Will be Alabama versus Creighton, Coleman Coliseum. Be there, be square. All right, Kat, tell everybody about what you got going on. And I see you. I got one of you here next to me, and I got one of you below me. So let me get out of the way here.
All right. So we just launched a new program, actually 2 new programs a week or so ago. Do you qualify for a 0-down mortgage? That's the question, and this is for purchase. If you're looking at purchasing, scan that QR code, give me a call, shoot me an email, go to my website. But that is what we're looking at. We've now got 2 different programs. We've had some programs before. We've always had a couple, but we've launched 2 new ones. So if you're looking at buying, do you qualify for a 0-down mortgage? Scan the QR code. We'll be able to tell you, yes, no, or what the best option is. But it's basically just awesome. Too long to go into details, but being able to get into a home with no money out of your pocket, that's like an unbelievable American dream. And then refinancing, rates have actually started to trickle down just a little. So refinancing, get you out of credit card debt, get you out of other debt. We're saving people $600 a month on average. Again, email, hit the QR code. Love to talk to you.
Yeah, and guys, I'm not in my studio today. You can tell I'm at the hotel here, but this guy got me into my house. He really did, and this is not a sales pitch, and I couldn't have got it without him. So as you get involved in buying something new, and you want somebody in your corner, you can count on Chad 100%. All right, we'll I guess the next courtside will be not this Saturday, but after next Saturday's game, unless something pops up. For the Catfish himself, Mr. Chad Anderson, I'm Mick Gillespie. Roll Tide, everybody.